I had a lot of fun in the kind of student bars as well, so £1 shop. Hi, I'm Nathalie Emmanuel and I'm here with Elle UK to play Ask Me Anything. I did like the Game of Thrones ending. I thought that what they were able to do after such a kind of huge monster of a show was really impressive. Like, I know that as a fan of the show myself, that we all individually have our idea of how we would have liked our favourite characters to end in the show or how that storyline would finish. We all had our own opinions about what that should be. And so when you think about how many people had been following that show and loved that show and had invested in that show, there really was no way to like make every single person happy. But I think that what they achieved for television was so insane. Like the amount of work and the amount of talent and just from every department, I just was kind of blown away by it. And I was just really proud of everybody because it was really tough. I mean, if you talk to any of the cast about those night shoots, I mean, it was unbelievable. I wasn't in any of those, so I kind of like witnessed this from the outside, really. Pretty much every season, I opened the scripts expecting to be killed. Like, the fact that I made it to season 8 was a shock. And so when it finally happened, I wasn't like, oh no, I was like, oh, there you go. It was gonna happen eventually. And so I didn't necessarily have a fear because it was Game of Thrones, like, because it was kind of known for that. I was like, I don't see why I would be any exception to the rule. Again, it's so hard because there's so many, but I think my favorite memory from Game of Thrones are those times where we weren't filming and we were all just kind of hanging out, you know, just being silly together and with the cast and the crew. Yeah, those moments where we'd have dinners and go to concerts or, you know, just that fun stuff, those connections that I built with those people, I think will be with me for a long time. We do definitely keep in touch with each other in between movies, and we don't have a WhatsApp group, but we have like a message group that we check in with each other quite regularly. Obviously then individually as well with everybody. So I think the chattiest person, full stop, is like Tyrese on all platforms, in person, in virtually. Like, Tyrese is always the most chatty, but that's why we love him. When I first met Charlize, like, it was very informal. Like, she was heading to set and I was coming from set, and I think, or she was either leaving set and I was coming to set. It was something like that, and she had her children with her and they were kind of, you know, running around, and it was all very like, hello, you know, like just very nice to meet you. And then, yeah, it was very much in like passing. We were very much in transit somewhere. And she was really sweet and cool. And I just remember being like a little giddy when I got back to my trailer because I was like, I just met Charlize Theron, this is awesome. I've had some pretty big fangirl moments. I think the biggest was when I met Mel B from the Spice Girls, because I'm a huge Spice Girls fan, and I couldn't speak much. I can get a little shy anyway, but I got incredibly shy. And she was so cool and really sweet. And she just meant so much to me when I was little, so it was a huge deal just to stand near her. And she's just such a, like, very down to earth. I was still like, oh my God, it's a Spice Girl, it's a Spice Girl. Like, so that was really great. And then I think the second one was I met Oprah. Again, like, I just lost all words, and that was pretty exciting because she'd been watching Game of Thrones and was like complimenting me, and it was a bit weird, and I didn't quite know how to deal with that because I was like, but you're Oprah, so. My fondest memories of Hollvoaks has to be, you know, just being in Liverpool. Like, Liverpool is one of the most incredible cities in the UK, and I feel like I had my kind of formative years then. I had just turned 17 when I moved there, and I think I moved back home just before my 24th birthday. So I was there for a good, 6 years, a bit more than 6 years. And it was just so much fun because we had such a great, fun, young cast, and we were all kind of in this moment together. And it was just a lot of fun to be in a city like that, which has a lot of young people. It's a student city. There's lots of universities there, and there is something to be said about people from up north. Like, they're just so friendly and warm a lot of the time. I mean, I'm not saying we're not down south, but there definitely is just like a different energy, and I always really felt welcome, and it was just like a lot of fun. And yeah, I had a lot of fun in the kind of student bars as well, so £1 shop. I think my interactions with fans have overwhelmingly been really positive, and people are mostly really polite and really sweet. But there are people who I would describe as intrusive, and there are lines that get crossed when you're sitting in a restaurant with your family and they come over and interrupt or are taking pictures sneakily, and it makes you feel kind of like you're in a goldfish bowl, and it's sort of strange thing because you can't relax, you can't be fully engaged with the people you're with, or people that follow you, or people that find out, I don't know, where you live, or find out where you are. And, those things, there becomes an element of safety. I'm a huge believer in consent. And if someone tells you like, oh, not right now, or it's so nice to meet you, but it's not appropriate for me to do this right now, like on a humanity level, like just, it's not a personal attack. Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, or doesn't mean I don't appreciate the fact that you are a fan. Like, it's important for me to create boundaries so that I get to feel comfortable, feel safe, and have a choice in any situation. Because I have had interactions where I've said, oh, I'm so sorry, not right now, because I'm with my mom or I'm with my grandmother. Like, it's my friend's hen party and it's about her, like, not about me. So I'm, whatever the situation, and people's reaction is not always understanding, and I've actually had an interaction before where somebody got quite threatening because I said no to them. I mean, it's so hard because often the onus is kind of put on you, and suddenly the pressure is put on you. And in those moments, it's really hard to kind of generate courage to stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself. But the one thing I would say, as hard as that moment is, as hard as your heart beats and feels like it's in your throat, in those moments where you can say what you need and say what you don't want, mostly those situations can be resolved. There can be a common ground, and you will feel so happy that you voiced your opinion or you voiced your discomfort, because there is nothing more frustrating of keeping quiet and then nothing changes or nothing happens or nothing's resolved, and then you're like, oh, if I'd have just said something, that, the kind of what if element is really frustrating. And as much as that moment can be really kind of scary, the result is so satisfying when you're like, oh, okay, it's really not as scary as I thought, because people often don't know what you need until you tell them, and you shouldn't be afraid to tell people what you need. Thanks so much for your questions. See you soon.